The University of Kentucky has a new athletic director, but don't just call him the AD. He's also the CEO of Champions Blue LLC. It's J Batt, and we're here to talk about the newest cat on the block and another KSR Rapid Reaction. I'm Nick Roush. He's Adam Luckett, and that's Tyler Thompson. And we have the news official this morning, but the targeted zeroing in reports surfaced on Saturday night when Adam Luckett was holding down the fort on Kentucky Sports Radio, the blog. So he knows everything there is to know about J Batt, and we're going to discuss it here today. But like I do think it is the first thing I saw about J Batt was a reply guy saying, "Oh, he's a big time fundraising chops." But that's what Eli Capilouto also said in his statement today. That I will read for you real quickly before I kick it to you. Jay has distinguished himself as a record breaker in fundraising and as a leader who strategically invests in facilities to maximize resources and revenue. This feels like when Eli was drawing up the plan for what they wanted. I know it took them a while on the listening tour, but they were beating us over the head with maximizing revenue, and it turns out it wasn't just lip service. They went out and got a guy who has legit bona fide fundraising chops.
Yeah, I think when you look at this hire, Nick, that's the first thing. Like, it just absolutely pops on paper is just Batt's fundraising. At Georgia Tech, $500 million campaign, football stadium, fan engagement, fan experiences, upgrades. I know people will like to hear basketball facility upgrade and a bunch of other things on the department. And then at Michigan State, what is $500 million? Let's do $1 billion capital campaign.
It's crazy.
Now, part of the reason they did that is because some booster, a husband and wife, I believe the owner of Acrisure, gave them $400 million.
Stadium. Yeah.
Yeah. They gave them $400 million. So, like, they have got 40% of it, but still, that's a sick. Take that out, $600 million. They were planning the raise. This is what this guy does. I mean, he worked directly with booster organizations. This is pre-NIL at East Carolina and Maryland, kind of as a fundraiser. And everywhere he's been, they've broken fundraising records. At Alabama, there was a big campaign, I believe a $500 million campaign. He was spearheading. So this is what this guy does. So whenever you heard Kentucky talk, we're really like, after we got past the old, like, I'm doing a listening tour and I don't know what I'm looking for. We're just listening. Once they got into it, it became clear. All right. They want a chief honcho who can just absolutely raise money with the best of them, be elite at that. And that's what they hired. Like, J Batt, all accounts, is a great fundraiser. I think it is unique. Like, he became an AD, I believe, October 2022. So we're not even less than 4 years. We're less than 4 years from that, and he's going to have his third Power Conference AD job. That's not something you see very often, but I do think, like, it was a move to get into the Big Two, and then Michigan State's kind of a mess right now whenever you dig into that. So Kentucky's giving him a chance here, and the big thing is just going to be raising money, building that entertainment district, I think, and all that comes with that, and getting them in a situation where they're financially in a really good spot, because I think that's a concern for them. And that's why they ended up looking at him specifically, is to help fix that.
It is crazy, though, Tyler, that we're in a world now where in the past, like Kentucky hired Mitch Barnhart 25 years ago because he was, like, you came up as an admin, right? And although Batt has done that as an administrator, it really is all about the Benjamins, follow the money, and that's kind of the state of college athletics that we're currently living in.
Yeah, exactly. I think the biggest indicator is his title. It's not just athletic director, it's chief executive officer of Champions Blue LLC. That in itself tells you how much of this job is going to be raising money. And I think Luckett's talked about this at Michigan State. Batt started Spartan Ventures, which is basically Champions Blue at Kentucky. So he's familiar in this landscape. And I remember when the group chat started firing off on Saturday, when the news broke that he was a candidate, Luckett said third job in 5 years. Initially, I was a little worried about that, but if you look at it a different way, it's because he's really good at his job. So he's clearly a rising star. He's only 44 years old. I mean, when I first saw his picture, I'm probably not the only person who said he looks like Will Stein's big brother. He kind of does. And Will Stein, also young, also really ambitious, also seemingly really talented. So it's clear Kentucky really is forward thinking with this hire, which, let's be honest, when Mitch announced his retirement back in March or whenever it was, I think a lot of us were scared that Kentucky was just going to go internal with this hire. It was just going to be the next person already seemingly lined up to take the job. However, for whatever reason, you could say the listening tour, you could maybe say Governor Andy Bashir's pressure on UK to kind of be more transparent with their decision making. They went outside of the box. They thought outside. They went external. They went after a young guy who has some SEC experience, and I think that that's huge. But his biggest trait so far has been as a fundraiser. And I think that's really, really promising for the future of the university and how they're handling this.
Yeah, and you mentioned his age. It seems a little young, but Mitch Barnhart was 38, if my math serves me correct. I don't know. I'm bad at math. But he was 66 minus 24. No, he was about the same age. I'm bad at math. I'm sorry, guys. So about the same age. The bigger thing that I have is that I just can't get past it. J Batt, just the letter J. No,
I looked this up. His name is actually Jason.
But we
I
couldn't do
know
J-A-Y? Like
he's a journalism major.
What? So he's a big J.
Yeah, he's the big J. He is the J. He's the J everyone talks about. Yeah.
Well, so if he's a big J journalist, then obviously he's going to be best friends with us, right?
We have such a great track record with Big J journalists.
Yeah, exactly. If Kentucky Sports Radio is known for anything, it's for journalism, and that's what we're here to do today. I will say, when it comes to, I know he wasn't at Michigan State long. Like you mentioned, the turmoil there. Like I don't know it all, but I know the president abruptly left, and then even before he got there was a lot of stuff going on. But that is a school with they got a pretty big basketball program, but football has to eat first. And I know there was a quote where he essentially said that, if you want all the other programs to be successful, you have to perform well in the sport of football. So yes, that is clear. He knows how to sort of juggle both of them. But I think the more I look at who they hire, Luckett, and Brent Key, that was not a lot of people would promote the interim offensive line coach. I know that he played Georgia Tech played well after he took over for Jeff Collins in the middle of that season. But you're kind of going out on a limb hiring this guy full time, and Brent Key has been an amazing addition. And then Pat Fitzgerald, that one I'm a little concerned with, how well is it going to work, because he struggled at Northwestern. But it's clear he has a type when it comes to hiring football coaches that they're kind of meatheads, and right, they're both. All of them have a little meathead to them. I think Will Stein has a little bit of meathead to him. So I think that the personalities will mesh well, even though Will Stein on paper doesn't have the sort of football. When he talks, he has that Dan Lanning crazy person in him, and I think that'll make them mesh well and cultivate a working relationship well at Kentucky.
Yeah, here's the quote. I got it pulled up. It's imperative that we support all our sports, but do not be confused. Every athletics department competing at the highest level must be successful in football. So Coach Izzo and I have already talked. Coach is the biggest supporter of our football program there is. Well, which is true. He gave them millions of dollars for them to build a football facility there. Mm-hmm. Now back to the quote. We'll do everything possible. We'll do everything we possibly can to dive in, help Coach Jonathan Smith, and continue to drive excellence and support you in all you need, while continuing to provide championship-level resources for all of our programs. Now, first of all, Smith they weren't doing too hot, and he ended up getting fired. And so that gets us to the coaching situations. When he gets hired by Georgia Tech in October 2022, they have already fired Jeff Collins.
Mm-hmm.
and they're kind of riding out the string with Brent Key. Now Batt tried to hire Willie Fritz, who ends up taking the Houston job, I believe, either that year or the year after. Now Fritz is considered by many to be like a top 15 to 20 coach. That would have been a good hire. So like that process worked out well for Georgia Tech. Now the basketball hire did not. Damon Stoudemire was a bad hire, and he's gone. And the new guy at Georgia Tech was the Troy head coach. He was hired after Batt left. So Batt even got out of there before he had to make a decision on Stoudemire. The baseball team down there at Georgia Tech has done really well. No, a lot of people don't care about that, but that's just another kind of like something was good and they kept it good when he was there. Then at Michigan State, they have the good year in basketball, obviously, with Izzo. It was weird, Nick, because they fired Jonathan Smith on like November 30th. And then like, I don't know if it was 20 minutes or what, reports came out that Pat Fitzgerald was going to be the next head coach at Michigan State. So there was obviously some like funny business going on there. But Fitzgerald was campaigning for jobs all last year. He got like, pardon's not the right word, but
he got off the hook. Yeah, he won those lawsuits.
Yeah, he won in that in like October, and then he was doing media. I think he went on Game Day and talked. So like they were working behind the scenes to hire him. So from a hiring track record, we still don't know a ton. Like even though he's been an AD for a while, but Kentucky's also in a situation where what coaches need to be hired, right? Like
you just got two new ones, pretty much.
Football, women's basketball, baseball's making tournaments. Everything stable over there. Men's basketball is the one, but like, well, looky here, everyone's all excited again. Mark wins a couple recruiting battles, and everyone's like, "Well, how the turntables have turned." So like, there's none of that. Like he's not inheriting a Jonathan Smith situation last year at Michigan State or a interim coaching situation like he did at Georgia Tech. So he's kind of got room to hit the ground running and do some of the other stuff that Kentucky wants to get done. Like in hindsight, it was almost like better that they kind of pulled the plug on Stoops when they did. Like, because now you've got this clean slate with a guy with a coach who already has like 100% approval rating, I would say, throughout the fan base through how he started his tenure. And even Pope, like last year was tough for a lot of people, but I think most people are kind of like, all right, we got a path here, even with how rocky everything was. So like for him, he's entering the most stable situation I would say he's ever entered as a job. And he's going to be able to hit the ground running in some of this fundraising stuff. And a thing I want to point out is, well, what is J Batt going to do? How is he going to make money? There's three things going on college campuses right now. Kentucky has no part in. They're called the Savannah Bananas. They're called Morgan Wallen. They're called Luke Combs. Every time I look up on a Saturday on Twitter, some college stadium has them on campus, and most of them are SEC schools, it feels like. Yeah. And Kentucky's not a part of any of those.
The most they've done is Tyler Childers, which was great, but we just need to do more of that.
So it's things like that I think that they're going to want Batt to get in and help fix and fundraise. And then obviously I think the big thing, I'll be interested to hear whenever he talks, it's just like this entertainment district. Do we get like what's the plan there? Because I think that's going to be something that they probably push for hard pretty quick.
Well, speaking of hearing from him, should we hear from him?
Let's hear from him.
Yeah. Peek, hit the button.
Big Blue Nation, I'm J Batt, and I couldn't be more excited to join you as the new CEO of Champions Blue and Director of Athletics at the University of Kentucky. I'm so excited, along with my wife Leah and our sons Fitz and Graham, to join you and the entire Big Blue Nation. Go Cats.
Where was the wrestling belt? I wanted to see the wrestling belt that was in Mitch's office when he did that chat with Coach Cal.
Well, Mitch is still working, so where do they put J Batt? Like, what office is he in?
Wherever he wants to be.
Is he just in the lobby? He's just got to work at a desk in the lobby until there's office.
Well, it looks like that's where that was filmed. So
they gave Mitch a pile of hay to sit on for his final 2 weeks. It doubles as a cafeteria as well. To your point, that's going to be asked during that intro press conference, whenever that is. That's the next big thing on the belt. And, I know Barnhart, Tyler, I got a little tired of him talking about buckets, but that is a general thought around college athletics, and I'm sure he's going to make it a point of emphasis. And you know what? Even there, he was Champions Blue CEO first instead of Director of Athletics first.
Right. And on all these breaking news graphics that you're seeing on social media, it just says athletic director, but equally important is the other part of his title, which is CEO of Champions Blue. That video is interesting to me. They really got him into town and got him set up quickly. They had him and his family in front of the UK backdrop. So clearly this has been moving fast.
Yeah.
Probably I'm sure they've had it on their radar since the search kind of transition from the listening tour to actual candidates. But Nick, I wanted to bring up, you put on KS Board something interesting. So he was the deputy AD at Alabama, which, he was part of the under Greg Byrne, which was part of the Mitch Barnhart tree. He worked closely with men's basketball, who's the men's basketball coach down there, Nate Oates. I think a lot of us are big fans of Nate Oates. And while we really, really hope that Mark Pope works out at Kentucky, things seem to be on the right track. That's a pretty cool connection to have, not only just because Oates is a good coach, but he is familiar with a successful men's basketball program. So that to me was promising.
I believe I may be off by a year, but did Alabama win the SEC tournament in 22? I think that was it, right? Is it that or 3?
Yeah,
they all run together.
Tennessee won in 22. That was the one in Tampa when they beat Oscar in the semis.
See, I forget them because we don't play in it anymore. So like it's hard to.
That was the last time Kentucky played on Saturday, I'm pretty sure.
Which is just insane. But I mentioned that because at the time that was my sort of galaxy, a few months ago. I know Greg Byrne, he made the weird, crazy contract extensions with DeBoer and Nate Oates, where it's like, oh, maybe he's just handing them some extensions before he gets the hell out of town and puts that on the next AD. Well, it turns out Kentucky ended up getting the guy that worked for him there as the deputy AD. And if you were curious, that buyout for Oates, $15 million after next season, $12 million after the following, and then $0 after that. After March 2027 or 2028, excuse me, it goes down to $0. So just something to keep in mind for down the road. Coaches, they aren't long for most of their jobs, even if you are a legacy or whatever it may be. We're not going to see another 15-year head coach at Kentucky like we did at John Calipari. This is a 10-year gig, and it always has been a 10-year gig. Calipari admitted that and then still stuck around for 5 more years. That will happen, and something to keep in mind when it does come across our dockets. We need to get out of here because I don't want to take up. We gotta write about this guy. Look, it's got 10 posts he's been working on. Tyler, do you have any more thoughts on J Batt besides where can we find an A and a Y for his name?
I want to know how he just earned the nickname J. I mean, maybe it's big journalist. Point. That would be a question I would have for him in the press conference, which would make all the big J's in the room roll their eyes at me. So even more reason to ask it. No, I'm just excited for that press conference to learn more about him. Obviously, we've read a lot, seen a lot in the past couple of days, but I think it's just really exciting. It shows that Kentucky is willing to lean into forward-thinking future in college sports, financial, fundraising, all of that good stuff. So far, so good.
There is a lot in this, Luckett, that is very boring and red tape and minutia filled, and that my eyes kind of gloss over when I start seeing about initiate blue and integrate blue and see blue. They have 20 of these blue things, and I don't really know what they mean, but I'm wondering if he can articulate it and how he can navigate through it, because right now it seems like we're in a how can we avoid the red or blue tape, if you will, to just get this thing humming as quickly as possible to make as much money as possible. And it sounds like he is well aware of how to do this, but I'm curious to see how he explains it. And you know what? I commend the folks who ran the search. It would have been nice if we had a few more leaks, sell some more subs. But this thing was totally under wraps until the deal was basically done. And Batt was probably already in Lexington doing his photo shoots whenever that dropped on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, J Batt was the chief revenue officer at Alabama. And in the two proposals at that Champions Blue board meeting we got, there was two with multi-leaders at the top, and there was two with a single leader at the top. But all of them included a chief revenue officer. Like, Kentucky has made it blatantly obvious that they want someone in here that can raise money and increase revenue streams. And this is what this guy has done his entire career. And that is why he's the new athletic director here. And now we'll get to see what he can do and what he can establish doing this. Everywhere he's been, places have increased their fundraising numbers in big numbers. And so I think you're going to see, or that's the expectation, I'm guessing, over there at the university, is that he's going to bring that to Kentucky and help them get some of the stuff that they want to get done so they can make more money and find a more sustainable model in this era of where they're going to have to pay players, and that rev share figure is only going to be going up, it sounds like. And it sounds like if we don't get this Congress thing, which is highly unlikely, that probably salary cap is going to probably take a big jump. So Kentucky needs more. Scrooge McDuck needs more money. So so J Batt is here to help fill up that bank.
J Batt is officially the new Champions Blue CEO and athletics director at the University of Kentucky. We'll hear more from him later this week. We're going to write more about it on Kentucky Sports Radio. We're talking about it on KSR Plus too. If you haven't signed up during the summer sale, do so now. 50% off an annual subscription. We appreciate y'all hanging out with us today. He's Adam Luckett. That's Tyler Thompson. I'm Nick Roush. Go Cats and go Crow Green.